moving slower than molasses as I'm off to catch the girl who's falling off the bridge, and I'm there before she knows it. I'll be gone before she sees me.
A scarlet costume ejects from his ring.
So The Flash Season 3 is now here, and I'm going to do a review on it. I just got done finishing it like 5 minutes ago. I don't know if it's a review or just a talk, but yeah, pretty much it starts out, I'm not gonna really leave screenshots of too many things like from the episode. That's sort of hard with what I'm working with and edit wise, and you know, it's just came out today. Like, I literally just finished the first episode premiere 5 minutes ago. But starts out with, you know, people have probably already seen it if they've been paying attention, but like, there's a part where in the trailers it's like she's like mistakes Barry for Gary, but this is the Flashpoint storyline, and there's still, even though it's a complete timeline lapse, like there's a complete change. Barry's been in a new timeline for however long, whatever. People have like the same traits. Like Barry was talking to Cisco Ramon, who's a billionaire, owns the enterprise that was Star Labs, but it's not Star Labs. I guess it wasn't really even there. Well, he's like, where have you been the past 2 years? When he asked or whatever, he's like, didn't this used to be Star Labs? But Joe's an alcoholic, or Detective West Joe, Iris's dad, is an alcoholic, and he, judging from what happened, obviously, he was laying in the bed and he was late for work. He has a tendency to be late for work due to his alcoholism. Barry was like, always makes excuses for like, oh, Joe was on getting in the evidence room, Joe was on the whoever case or whatever. He's still sticking up for him. Joe's wondering, why are you so concerned about me? Because, you know, it's like, it's a different timeline. So at the beginning, it's just all this stuff. You're getting to know the characters that you know, but they're different, but they still have some of the same traits. And like I said, Cisco Ramon, as I was saying, Barry was trying to say, I know you care for people, because like, there's only one man who can help us or whatever. And they were talking about Cisco Ramon, and he was like, I know you have some good in you or whatever, deep down, whether you like it or not or whatever. And he told Barry about, or Barry told Cisco about how Cisco gave Dante his brother. So he's talking about how he knew his brother and gave him all the money for what his brother needed or whatever. So they still have some of the same events, or people still have some of the same things. And he's like, how'd you know that or whatever? And he's like, oh, if I remember correctly, he's just like, I just got a feeling or whatever. He uses these excuses for knowing when the characters have something. I just got a feeling. Or, oh, I'm CSI, obviously. But then later in the episode, he reveals he's the Flash because they need to take out the rival. Well, and going back on how people have some of the same traits. Also, because Iris and Barry went to the same elementary school in the other timeline. In this timeline, they did as well. And you know that joke, Barry had a chance to fuck Iris, but he fucked the timeline? Well, in this, he got Iris on his first try, and he was awkward as hell when he asked her out. But they're talking about elementary school or whatever, or they were in the same class, and that the teacher actually did, like, they actually had the same experience with the teacher or whatever. Like, they had the same, I don't remember his name because I wasn't paying attention to the name part. I just watch, I mean, if I want to know anything about comics, which I do, but if I want to do anything with comics, I watch The Flash for entertainment. I'm not there to look for Easter eggs. I'm not trying to be like Emergency Awesome. I just like making these videos for fun. So this is just like a talk, but they're talking about, I don't remember the teacher's name, but how he pounded the chalkboard and dust came out, and they were talking about the same thing or whatever, and they knew what they were talking about. But Barry got Iris on the first try. This is the Flashpoint timeline, because that's what happened. Joe's an alcoholic and he's late for work, as opposed to, you know, in like the seasons, he's like, it's his job, it's his duty, he wants to be there. In this, he's like, just late for work, and he doesn't even really like Barry that much. And so once all this is happening, Barry's getting some, you'd think they're like flashbacks, but it's not flashbacks. He gets memories of the past 2 seasons. Like, there's a part where he's fighting the rival with Kid Flash, and Kid Flash, which is Wally West, he knows Wally West is Kid Flash by taking off his mask, but he does the excuse, "Oh, I'm CIA, or CSI, I put it together," or whatever. And it's just like, oh, that's believable. You're CSI and you automatically figured I'm the Flash, or whatever. But I mean, when they're fighting the rival, Wally gets stabbed, and because the rival is like so determined to kill them. But then when he's fighting the rival, he gets these flashbacks, but they're not really okay, we'll call them flashbacks because he gets them, but actually they're just memories that fade away. Like, he loses that memory, like he doesn't even know, and it's clear to tell because he'll like fall, not fall like he'll like hurt himself, but he'll like need to hold on to something, because it's like when you get, for me, I get like leg spasms because of my legs or whatever, so I'll like, my leg will stop and I'll sit down for a bit, but he has like this thing where his whole body just like sort of not collapses, but just goes into a little overload in his, and obviously only he knows it, but he remembers that he does all these powers, like Jay, which turned out to be Hunter Zolomon or whatever, you know, Zoom, Professor Zoom in the comics. It's pretty easy to tell that it was Hunter Zolomon. I mean, they did a bunch of stuff to whatever, try and, I don't know, it just rambling about it, you know, just all the stuff where he fights Zoom and stuff, and I mean, not that, but Zoom, Zoom, who he thought was Jay Garrick or whatever, all the time remnant stuff, who taught him how to throw a lightning bolt. He gets a memory of that. He gets memory of speeding around fighting people. A lot of the moves he learned, he forgot, and the rivals whipping up storms or whatever. But then Iris, of course I'm talking still Flashpoint, says, "I know there's something different between me and you on another timeline, but I don't know what to say in this timeline. I know she would say something more helpful in the other timeline, but I believe you're the Flash, and I believe in you." And then he gets the memories back, because if you read the comics, or even it says in the first season or whatever, Speed Force is more of a mental thing too. Like, a lightning rod is what a speedster holds close to, like a person. So like Iris West is Barry's lightning rod. If you read Flash Rebirth, it's a lightning rod. Helps you get back to Speed Force. It's something that you care for to get back from the Speed Force once you go in it. And the rival says, "You guys are going to be begging me to go to be taken to the Speed Force." That's a reference to like death. When a speedster dies, they can actually go to this, they are like one with the Speed Force. Kind of like Star Wars, when you see Yoda being a blue ghost, he's like one with the Force, but instead this is, you can be one with the Speed Force. But I mean, you're obviously just stuck in there. You're not going to be like freaking Yoda talking to Luke, or Anakin talking to Luke or whatever. You're just in the Speed Force. That's what happened in Season 2 as well. When he got disintegrated or whatever. But all that shit happened or whatever. And then he keeps having run-ins with Reverse Flash. Reverse Flash at the beginning, he's like, "You're going to be begging me to kill your mother again," or whatever. And as expected, I don't know, it was pretty much expected, because everything was getting screwed up or whatever. He was losing his power, or he was losing memories of things he could do, the past life he had, which he liked. At first he's like, "You're not gonna get out of here. I like my life right now." But then, or later in the episode, he takes Reverse Flash, and he goes to Reverse Flash with this Iris, who actually cares about him. Like, first try he gets her. I mean, that's kind of cool, but I mean, it was weird too. First try he gets her, but he has her help him like talk to the parents, because he's gonna go back and change time. So he goes to Reverse Flash and says, "I want you to do it," or whatever. And he's like, "Want me to do what?" And Barry's like, he doesn't. Who the hell would want you to say, I want you to go back in time and kill my mom, you know, bro? I mean, that was just so awesome. No, he's like, you know what I want you to do. And he's like, I want you to say it. And he's like, we need to go back in time and kill my mother, or you need to go back in time and kill my mom. He's like, my pleasure. So it goes back, reverse to season 2, the end of season 2, that brief moment where Barry saved his mother. It gets to that point where Barry saved his mother and she's okay. The reverse flash from Flashpoint shows up. So this is the timeline where Barry's in, and his mother is dead. Reverse flash, or you know how Barry says, "You're gonna be all right now," because she's scared because she just almost died. She almost got stabbed by a yellow guy in a suit. You know, in reverse flash, Eobard Thawne. But then the Eobard Thawne, when they were stuck in the Flashpoint timeline, showed up and said, no, you're not fine. I'm not going to go all freaking Jigsaw or whatever. And he didn't really sound much like Jigsaw or whatever. They always do the vibrating voice. And he said, you're not going to be fine. So he goes back. Barry disappears, because that's the Barry that altered the timeline and made Flashpoint. And then the reverse flash that he took down, since Barry stopped him, disappears because they caused the timeline. So Reverse Flash takes a knife and he stabs Nora again. And how many fucking times are we gonna see that? I mean, dude, it's just bad. But I mean, then it goes back to season 2 where Barry's sitting on the stairs. Reverse Flash brings him to that scene, you know, where he sits on the stairs and he's finally with Iris or whatever. And then he saves his mom. So then all that is reversed. Now his mom is dead. Everything's back to normal. But Reverse Flash says, this is fine for me now. Oh man, this video's getting long. I'm doing a one cut. He's like, this is fine for me now. He's like, what do you mean this is fine for you? Barry says, or whatever, something like that. I'm not gonna try and get all of what he said completely, but I'm gonna give you the general idea. He says, what do you mean by you? He's like, oh, you'll just have to wait and see. See you soon, Flash. And then he dashes off. I was happy because he gets his past life back or whatever. But it goes back all the way to the end of season 2. He goes back in the house. They're having some drinks or whatever. Barry goes up and hugs Wally, you know, because, I mean, he got killed in their timeline, but he still wants to make sure that, you know, Wally knows he cares for him. They're still having a thing, but Iris isn't there, and Barry's like, hey, have you guys seen Iris around? Joe's like, that's not even funny, I need some grieving time now, or whatever he said. And he goes to Wally and he's like, what do you mean Iris isn't here? He's like, no, we don't talk about that, they don't talk anymore. So I don't know if I heard it correctly, I don't know if she's dead or they just don't have a relationship. Then it does the thing where it does lightning bolt, but then it says the Flash, because there's a lot of episodes that do that. Some don't, most of them do. Goes through the lightning bolt where it says the Flash, and then there's an end scene. And holy shit, there were like, if there's any movie commercials, the only movie commercials, this is off topic, are Edge of 17, which I laughed at. It's the first trailer I've really laughed at or whatever, because it was funny. And then there's Marvel freaking commercials on a DC show. But anyways, it goes to, I think it was the guy who was the rival. I didn't get a very good look at it. Like I said, I watch it for entertainment. If I want to read comic books and get knowledge, I like reading Flash and Batman and Suicide Squad. I read the comics. If I want to watch a show, I'll do it for entertainment. But then there's a voice that pops up in this guy's head at the end credit scene, or not in his head, but pops up. And when you see in the trailers, it says Alchemy. It's not for Flash. It's actually reference to Dr. Alchemy. It says Alchemy is getting written on his mirror, but he doesn't even know where it's getting written from. This is all one cut. That's why it's so long. I hope you stuck through it. I actually like the premiere.
I've got time to think about my past as I dodge between the bullets.